If this plane takes off, we're all gonna die. You will not believe what is on this plane. This is America's so-called doomsday plane, and it's one of the biggest planes in the entire world. In the front of the plane, it's just pure luxury. But the rest of the plane is a control center with a ton of computers. But before I tell you what they're used for, I found a way that you can erase literally anything from your photos. Promise me you won't use it for bad. I'll have it here if you want to erase things. Inside these control centers, people will have the ability to drop nukes anywhere in the world. Luckily, this plane will only take off in critical circumstances. And by critical circumstances, I mean like a nuclear war. This plane will allow the president and other high officials to run the world from the sky.
Let's talk about a terrifying video game you can play right now on Steam. No One Lives Under the Lighthouse. This first-person horror adventure has you playing as the keeper of a lighthouse, and all you know is that the previous keeper disappeared without a trace. When you arrive at the island you're staying at, everything seems to be normal on the first day. However, things start to become very disturbing over time, and it's clear that the island is hiding some sort of secret. The events get creepier and creepier as the days go by, and the payoff in the last act of the game delivers some truly terrifying moments. Just know that the island's secret might be worth leaving alone. As always, thank you for watching and follow for more videos just like this one.
Hi everyone, welcome to a new series called Celebrities You Didn't Know Were Kidnapped. Today we're going to be talking about the not very well-known kidnapping of Jessica Alba. Now, this is not something that Jessica's talked about publicly, but when she was 15 years old, she was kidnapped from set from her first ever show, Flipper. The story goes that Jessica was filming in Miami when she started receiving weird phone calls. She didn't really think much of it because she figured it was just a fan that got her number. The specific details have never been released, but we know that Jessica was taken for 14 hours and found tied up and blindfolded in the trunk of a car. When she was found, she wasn't able to recount a lot of the details to the police, but also she was severely traumatized and it sounds like she was blindfolded for a lot of it. In general though, this is just kind of a small part of Jessica's dark past. She was raised in a really religious community that completely shamed her for her looks. Like basically being told it was her fault that older men were looking at her because she was just too pretty. This is just the first of a few stories we're gonna tell though, so follow along for more.
This is the scary theory about Bob Ross. Up first, we all know who Bob Ross is. He's a very famous painter who is known for his bright attitude and his very calm demeanor. But people think Bob Ross was a serial killer, and every single one of his paintings is where he buried the bodies. People are saying this because this painting by Bob Ross is called Happy Little Accidents. Nothing special, right? But this is where they found 5 female bodies that were half eaten and dead. The painting in this location are almost identical, and this might raise the question, was Bob Ross a serial killer?
I watched a movie last night that I think a lot of you haven't seen before. I found it because I follow Let's Watch That, and she recommended it on her most recent video. So the movie's called The Tunnel, and it's not on any American streaming service. Not on Amazon, not on Netflix, Hulu, nothing. And that's why I think a lot of people haven't seen this movie. So I used my site that I use when I can't find movies on the main streaming services, and I watched it, and oh my god, it was crazy. It's found footage, so if you're into that, you'll love the movie. But the way it was shot was unlike any other found footage movie I've ever seen. So many parts of the movie I want to talk about, but I don't want to spoil it, so I'll make another video on that. It's always hard rating found footage films because they often have a lower budget than, mainstream films. With the acting and the story and the budget they had to work with, I think they killed it. Like, it was a great movie. I think I gotta give it a 4 out of 5 with the must-watch tag. If you want the site, DM me. I can't risk it on TikTok, but just DM me.
The Other Mother live stream.
Mother?
What?
Behind you! Look!
Oh my god!
What's up, dude? My dad took me out of school when I was 7 and said he wanted to homeschool me. I never understood why, to be honest. I always did good in school. But one thing I noticed was we never actually did any schoolwork. You see, I slept a lot during the day, cause my dad would keep me up most of the night to play hide and seek. I never got to seek. It was my job to hide and hide good, as my dad would say. So every night I'd hide, and my dad would try and find me. I had this spot in my closet that even my dad didn't know about. It was at the very back corner, and it was a door that led into a crawl space. I'd taken an electric lantern, some blankets, a little cooler of food, a couple comic books, and my Game Boy to keep myself busy while we played. He never found me, but it was always funny listening to him try. He'd growl and snarl like he was trying to scare me, but I just had to stay quiet, as Daddy said if I lost we wouldn't be able to play anymore. So last night my aunt and uncle, Daddy's brother, came over for dinner. When it was over and we were sitting around talking, I mentioned about playing hide and seek. My daddy's face turned white, and my uncle gave me a weird look. What do you mean you're playing hide and seek tonight? My uncle asked. Every night Daddy and I play hide and seek. But he's really bad at it as he never finds me, I replied. Go get your pajamas on, Jay, my dad said as the tone in his voice changed as I left the dining room. Nobody was saying anything. But when I got to my room, I could hear my dad and uncle talking angrily to each other. The last thing I heard was the door slam and my dad's stomping feet coming up the stairs. Did Uncle Tom and Aunt Linda leave? I asked. Yeah, they had to get on the road, my dad answered, giving me a long hug. Is it time to play, Dad? I asked as I finished getting my pajamas on. A few minutes. There's something I want to talk to you about, he replied as he sat on my bed. This will probably be the last time we play. As Uncle Tom wants you to come stay with him and Linda for a while, he said as tears welled up in his eyes. I didn't understand, but I did remember before Mommy was killed in the woods by that murderer, that she and Daddy had talked about me living with Uncle Tom, so I didn't argue, I just hugged my dad.
Seems I'm always late night texting, reaching out for you. Every morning I find drunken messages spilling the truth on you.
So if this was going to be our last game for a little while, then I was for sure not getting caught. My dad left the room and went down into the basement where he always started. I could hear him counting as he walked away. 12, 0.3, 0.4, 0.5, his voice trailed off. He always gave me to 100 to hide. I climbed into my closet and pushed the crawlspace door in, and wriggled through the wall into the damp, dark space. The smell of dust and dirt filled my nose as I turned the electric lantern on. Turning back around, I pushed the little door back on. I'd just finished reading the new Incredible Hulk when I heard my dad come in the bedroom. Turning off the lantern, I heard him go into my closet shifting the hangers on the rod. He made noises like a big dog, sniffing and growling. It was really hard for me not to laugh, as I sat there in the pitch black, waiting for him to leave so I could get back to reading. There was a loud bang from outside as I heard my Uncle Tom yell my name. Jay, stay where you are and don't come out, he yelled into the house. I heard my dad run from my room and head towards the stairs. Mark, you don't need to do this, we can fix it. Look at Linda. She doesn't even change anymore. I didn't know what my uncle was talking about, but then loud bangs rang through my house like fireworks going off. It was morning by the time I pulled the door off the crawlspace and got out into my room. The house was dead quiet as I went to the washroom and cleaned myself up. When I went downstairs to get some breakfast, the house was empty. There was a note on the table from my dad. Jay, you're growing up to be such a strong boy. I need you to be even stronger now. And go and live with Uncle Tom for a little while. I love you, son, and I'm sorry this has to happen. Dad, at the bottom was Uncle Tom's phone number. I cried. I mean, of course I did. My dad just left me to my aunt and uncle with no explanation. When I looked up, Tom was standing there with his rifle slung over his shoulder. Hurry up and finish your breakfast, buddy. We got to go get rid of an old wolf that I killed last night. We spent the rest of the day digging a hole and throwing in chopped up pieces of the wolf. It was weird, but I thought I seen my dad's wedding ring on the ground, but it got knocked into the hole. When Tom picked up one of the wolf's front paws. Uncle Tom, when can I see my dad again? I asked, trying to hold back tears. I'm not sure, Jay, and that's the truth. Hopefully someday soon we'll see, Tom replied as we started filling in the hole. I'm not gonna lie, going back to school was great after being out for a year, and Tom and Linda took great care of me. But lately Tom has been sleeping out in the barn, and every time he does his pretend wolf howls keep me up really late at night. Heard him and Linda talking about how it may be time to play hide and seek again.